Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to do 2020's Under the Water. I was very excited for this movie when it first came out. I'd watched it once before this, rewatched it the other day, thought I'd give it a review. So let's get into it. Another excellent title for another okay movie, I guess. Why would they pick underwater? Oh, I don't know. Because it's underwater. So the whole premise of the movie is based underwater in a small oil ship, I guess. It's supposed to be for the oil mines that are deep in the water. And obviously things go wrong. Pressure changes or something happens to the water that affects the pressure. And right off the get-go, half the ship goes down. In the beginning of the movie, and I'm not ruining anything for anyone who hasn't seen it, it pretty much right off the bat, they go, drip of water, and they're like, oh shit, like, it's going down. And there's a big sprint, and it doesn't really get your attention like they're trying to. Like, they want it to be this big action-packed thing, but it almost comes off too early or just too simple, and half the ship goes down, and there's a couple dire moments. And yeah, so that's your opening, and that's pretty much your plot. Other than being under the water, something, being a horror movie, has shifted the water and shifted the ship so that the pressure happens in the first place. And there go your monster. So everyone should know, if they've seen the trailer or are interested in this movie, it's about a monster in the water. Now, I love movies deep under the water because they're no different than in space. You never know what's down there. There's still creatures in areas of the ocean that we've never checked. So for me, I love this concept. No different than space. I absolutely love those kinds of movies where it's completely opposite to the basic horror, where it's somewhere comfortable in a house or, you know, on the road, on vacation. Instead, it's, you know, it's somewhere that was already kind of spooky and most people will never get to go in their lives. So you kind of get to use your brain and your imagination and see what's going on and kind of make your own choices on what the monster will look like or what's the next move going to be. So I really enjoy that part. When it comes to this movie, I don't think they pulled it off. Just on the whole story theme and where they went with it, it was a lot of chasing. They just constantly had to go somewhere else. They were like, all right, well, we have to get across the water to the next pod. And then after that, we have to use this pod to get this thing ready to go to that pod. So I found the movie with a lot of chasing around. And yeah, it had the odd scare. It was labeled a thriller scare, so it's more on the thrill. But there were the odd scenes that you're like, oh, but that's it. You know, it wasn't scary or horrifying or anything. But yeah, it kept me entertained. It was thrilling in that aspect. I loved the concept of the underwater. And the characters were pretty good. There was a bit blandness to it. Like, I really thought that they wanted to be Alien. That's what this movie really, from the get-go, I was like, oh, they're trying to do an Alien movie. And like, Alien movies are awesome. I love the Alien franchise. But they didn't pull it off because they didn't give enough time for us to really connect with any of the characters. As I said from the beginning, you just get thrown into like, oh, the ship's going down, people die. And then you slowly meet the characters as they're either being saved or, you know, they happen to be in the room that was fine, but you don't get to know them well enough. You might get the odd glimpse of like, well, he lost his daughter, or, you know, this happened, and we were best friends, and we climbed Mount Everest, or some crap. But that was it. Like, you don't get to know the characters well. Speaking of the characters, Kristen Stewart is the main character. She buzzed her head, and she actually looks like she's Ripley from Alien. That's probably why when I first saw the trailer and the movie, I was like, yeah, that's what they're going for. And she's the main character, but it just doesn't seem like she has that role. You know, like, it's supposed to be that role. She's on the camera most of the time, but she just isn't that actress, I guess. Or in this movie, it just doesn't portray it properly. And the only secondary actor that I found any real interest in is TJ Miller's character, where he kind of plays a goofball, but he's a bit more hardcore. Like, all of his movies, he's, you know, a comedian, but in this one, he's got tattoos, and, you know, he's a bit odd. He's a strange guy, but he also is more of a tough guy, more of a stronger role than just being the guy you laugh at or the guy that drops jokes. Not to say he doesn't drop jokes, he fully does that too. That is 100% part of his character. But those are the only two characters that I even had a little bit of interest in, and even then, like, they were very dry. They show TJ Miller's character having a lot of spunk in the tattoos, and, you know, his workspace has all this stuff, and he seems like an interesting character, but they don't go anywhere with it. Like, he doesn't talk about it, he doesn't show it. It's very, very bland other than the odd jokes. And then I didn't really give a shit when he died, like when anything happened to him, or when anything happened to any of them. So that really loses it for me, and I think most of the audience who's going to watch this movie is going to go, I don't really care if this person dies or that person dies. I just want to see the monster at this point, which is usually monster movies anyways, but at the same time, you want someone to win, and in this one, it might just be the monster. One thing I truly did enjoy about this movie, it was one of the higher things that I enjoyed about this movie, was the underwater scenes. I thought they were really good. They really managed to keep it dark and eerie, but also have that true feeling that they're underwater and this is all happening and there's actually something out in the dark. I really liked that, and I really liked that it wasn't official until later on where the director said it, but it is actually based on the H.P. Lovecraft Call of Cthulhu. So if you didn't know that, it'll give you a bit of a demographic towards what the monster will look like and how the story is going to play out. And I loved that novel. I loved that short story. So it had me hooked on that premise right away. And I had a feeling that was the situation beforehand. And I'm really happy that that's what they went with. Okay guys, that's my review. That's how I felt about that movie. I'm going to give it probably, say, a 6.2 out of 10. Online I've seen some decent reviews on it. It's pretty much in the middle for everyone. But you know, it might be the movie for you, so go check it out. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe button's always there, and hit some notifications if you want to, you know, keep up. All right, have a good night, guys.